What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm the Celtic Warrior, Shaman.
Soda.
And I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show, because we don't go to episode 2 until we get episode 1 right. We have not done that ever. Continuing on with that motif, I've forgotten how the rest of the intro goes. So what I'm going to say, what is that? What's on screen? Why is everything blue?
Oh, I have no idea what that is. I didn't do anything.
All
right.
I'm at Ref Marsh.
What is happening?
WTR the show. Technical difficulties. Go ahead and take a drink. New year, same issues.
There we go.
Oh, hey!
Hey!
If you're watching on twitch.tv/Wrestling on the Rocks, have a drink for the technical difficulties. If you're listening on podcast, have a drink because we don't know what we're doing.
Maybe don't have a drink if you're listening on podcast. If you're like me, you listen on podcast when you're driving. Yeah. Probably not the best time to drink.
I was going to make a joke, but it's actually you should actually.
So our jar,
Yeah,
there's an issue with our jar, so I'm just not going to include it. So
Okay.
it's being weird.
It's jarring.
Oh, wait.
it's
is this the
empty.
reason? Nope.
No.
I don't know. It's being weird, so we got no tip jar. So
Oh, that's all right. If you guys want a tip, you can go to WrestlingOnTheRocks.com and there is a donut button. Donut?
Donut.
wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a donate button. If you donate on the donate button, I'll buy a donut. I swear to God. I'll give one to Klump too.
Isn't this supposed to
I
be
want
new?
one.
We'd ship them to you, Amanda, but they
This?
might be a little bit stale.
Oh, you muted me. I'm not coming in all.
Yeah.
Your mic. There you go. Now I'm unmuted.
Here we go.
Great. So if you're listening on podcast, you can have a drink for that one too. This is cool. This is going great. We brought the producer back. She reminded us what things have been like forever. Guys, welcome to Thursday Night Chaser, where me and my pals, your drinking buddies, are going to break down a little bit what's going on in this week in wrestling. You've already heard producer. You've heard everyone. I'm going to start with Klump. Klump, say hello.
Hi, how you guys doing today? I'm Klump, here to sound rather different. This isn't a voice. This is just my voice from now on, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, when you get sick enough, your balls drop.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Okay.
Like Tom Waits.
Hell yeah, dude. Tom Waits Klump. So good. Do whatever you want, producer. You're back on.
Oh my God.
We're back in it.
We got Justin Time in the chat. Thanks for coming through. He says, cheers to the die bar of the IWC. Shouts to the return of the old desk layout and to technical difficulties. Take a drink.
Yeah, maybe it's a bad sign. Maybe this idea of bringing back the old layout, maybe a snake bit immediately. And then also welcoming back. I need a drink bad. MsAmandaJayne.
Yeah, what are you doing? Jesus. Yeah, hi. Get Marsh a drink. Go to WrestlingOnTheRocks.com and donate. Because obviously he needs some help.
Yeah, I need drinks. I need donuts.
Donuts, drinks, whatever.
Well, let's start with the hard stuff. Start with a little bit of what's in your glass. Let's start with Klump. Klump, please tell me you're having some sort of melted honey for that throat of yours.
Water. Water is dope. And more water. And Powerade because electrolytes.
Oh, that's what plants need. That's what plants crave.
Yeah, exactly.
You gonna expand on that, or just that he's there?
This wouldn't be an episode 1 without some good old-fashioned technical difficulties.
Correct. She didn't even unmute her mic for that one. So. Oh my God.
What?
All right. Well, I guess we're back on track. New year, same old shit.
If you guys wanted to progress in episode 2, too fucking bad. If anything, welcome to episode 0. This is an unairing pilot. This is wardrobe.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you thought that the new year was any indication on if we were going to get to episode 2, with it being year 2022, you are sadly mistaken. I think we've made every point we can that we will be remaining in episode 1 for perpetuity.
100%.
MsAmandaJayne, what's in your glass? What are you drinking?
Well, since we are all about let's do the same shit, New Year's, same shit. Sponsored, not sponsored. And woohoo! It's cranberry today, and we have put vodka in. So, yes.
Wow.
Of course, it is Stoli.
Crown vodka, cran vodka,
Cran slushy
and a
vodka.
slush.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
It's like a fun drink and great for UTIs.
Yeah, that too. And did you know that Sonic also has Powerade with the electrolytes as a slushie?
Oh, shit.
I'm just saying.
I'm not gonna drop the mic. Drop it like it's hot. All right, okay. What
That's
I'm
one of the
having.
easiest to get you to laugh I've had. It's good. No, we're good. We're on doing a good thing. What I'm gonna have is I'm finishing off the mystery water bottle I found in my fridge yesterday.
Ew.
With a brown fluid that smelled a lot like bourbon.
Oh my god.
I found it. I had most of it yesterday, but there's still some left.
You
And
sound not like me now. Like that, you should be like literally melting.
I don't know what. Well, I believe I was gifted this at the end of a wedding where they said, "Hey, I really can't get on whatever vehicle they're gonna be getting on with this open booze," and I was like, "Well, I'm driving, so give it here." And I can see the chat. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this one off. I believe, in my heart of hearts, it's Bullet, which is a good bourbon, but at the same time,
not that expensive either.
Not that expensive.
It makes it so much sadder that it's in like just a water bottle.
Yeah.
Like that should be your gimmick though from now on, is just like, oh, I don't know, like Remy Martin, like that $3,000 bottle, but it's in a Yahtzee shaker.
Oh, that'd be so good. Dude, I do have this. I'm going to actually, apologies to the podcast listeners. Check it out on video when you can. Twitch.tv/Wrestling on the Rocks or Wrestling on the Rocks YouTube. Let me give you a quick glimpse at this Klump. I got this a while back. It sits right back here.
What are you doing? Okay.
It looks like books, but it's not books. It opens up, and it's like Prohibition era. It's got the little.
Whoa!
Oh, so crystal decanters.
I forgot it does music. Yeah.
It's wholesome. Weird.
It's got the little necklaces on it that say scotch and gin and rum, so you can say what's in it without saying what's in it. And it's got these little tiny. Oh shit, that's stuck in. Oh, there.
Like music
little
box.
Tiny shot glasses. Yeah, it's a music box
Wow. A music box of fucking liquor. Wow.
too. Oh, that's good stuff.
I know what I want on my Amazon wish list.
You see what books they are?
Amazon wishlist. This we got this at an antique shop. Well, there's a winder in the back. The
Oh.
books are History of the World Volume 1 and History of Art Volume 3.
Oh.
Home library.
Yeah, but we got it at an antique shop, which leads us to believe it was Prohibition era. Also because we're pretty simple-minded in that kind of regard.
Well, it could have been Prohibition China.
That's
Have you looked for that label?
I have not. Just in time is in chat. He says, New Year, same shit shirt coming soon. We do have a sponsored, not sponsored shirt coming soon. So keep your eyes out for that on Teesprings coming to a Teesprings near you. But yeah, that's my New Year's resolution, to use that kind of setup to drink more. So I feel classy.
Motherfucker.
Is that a tagline for us? We drink classy.
Yeah, we drink classy.
We drink
Or
classy.
not at all.
Yeah.
You can drink water classy.
Got my fizzy. Oh shit, I got more beer.
Go get it. Okay. Just in time in the chat. Cheers for coming through too, man. He goes, shouts to the musical booze box. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good year. Klump is. He's biting off the bottle top with his mouth. I mean, well, keep it going. Let us know how it turns out. Let's get going, though. I think it's going to be a good year. You guys have a good New Year's?
Sounded worse than this, so no.
Yeah, that sounds great. Amanda, how was your New Year's?
Well, it started off a little rough because I didn't realize that they started Cobra Kai 4 earlier in the evening, so I didn't have to be up all night. But I was up all night. I watched the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And then I couldn't watch any Wrestle Kingdom really live because it threw my sleep off all week. So.
Oh.
Yeah, but
that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but that's okay.
Well, the good news is it sounds like everyone had a real shitty New Year's, which means it can only get better. Like Klump, as long as you don't close out 2022 feeling like you're about to die and not being able to talk, it's going to be a success.
I mean, truthfully, if I kept my voice like this, I'd be pretty down with it because I don't hate it. I just want to stop coughing.
I think it'd be fair trade. Yeah, absolutely. If you could just forever damage your throat enough to where you just sound that way.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I think it's
like
great. I sound sympathetic.
Yeah. Like Johnny Ace, but badder asser.
That's not hard.
Well, come on. Just in Time says, when in doubt, use your mouth. Klump's life motto. Let's get into it, guys. Let's talk a little bit. It's good to have everyone back. It's good to have everyone, all of our drinking buddies back, hanging, chilling, relaxing, all cool, as they say. What? That's what they say. Let's start with news stuff. Let's start with Amanda. Amanda, what did you have news-wise that you wanted to hit up? Because we'll get to the releases and we'll get to Klump's thing, but you had some stuff that were not the releases and Klump's thing. Go ahead and start with that, and then we'll start digging in deeper.
Yeah, 'tis the season for Wrestle Kingdom. The one I hear that the Shibata match, and I have not seen it yet, so I'm not spoiling anything, but I hear that was very phenomenal. So, here are my notes from Wrestle Kingdom with kind of watching and kind of not. Okay, Tanahashi, I do not care, but I love Ponytail Tanahashi so bad, and it makes me cry that he has better hair than I do, and a lot of other women I know.
Well, I could see that. Point of contention for sure.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with Evil. I don't think that Evil, since he basically left LIJ, I just don't think that Evil has been very good.
Really? I feel like I've been hearing a lot about NJPW struggling right now.
Yeah.
The majority of the narrative I hear right now, when I casually browse about, is that NJPW is suddenly a big secret. Like they're doing a terrible job of getting clips out, the word out, tweets, like they're not trending. No one's paying attention. And the stuff that's going on over there is flat out not working right now. Like that's the narrative I see.
I can tell you what I think why.
It's
coincidental that the fall, well, quote unquote,
perceived fall
of NJPW really has been, it's been declining since a certain person started a faction.
Kenny Omega?
Nobody wants a Gaijin with a faction like that. You know, you're no Kenny Omega. You're no Prince Devitt. You're no AJ Styles. It's like, bro.
Wait.
No.
Does Ocean Spray have a faction?
Yeah, the United Empire, and I'm very upset that Jeff Cobb is a part of that.
Oh. Huh. Well, I'll tell you that this much. I'd not heard any of that.
Oh, well.
So that's what I mean. Like they're not getting the word out. Because there was a time where I felt like I knew what was happening in NJPW even when I wasn't tracking it down or making sure I watched it. And I feel like the biggest reason why I agreed when I saw someone say that was I thought, you know what? I have no idea what's happening over there. And I feel like I used to.
Yeah. And
Wrestle Kingdom, yeah. It happened and I didn't find out about it till it was already over. I always knew when it was coming up.
You want to hear one thing that I did not know until recently, and I was a little upset about it because I was missing him like badly, is I love me some Taka Michinoku. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Zack Stay By Time, you know? And even though, yes, he was wrestling with Suzuki in the tag turn. I didn't know that. And I was like, whoa, when did Taka go back to New Japan? And yeah, see, I don't know any of
Wait,
this
when was
stuff.
Taka not in New Japan? Because I know that he was there a couple years ago.
got released. Well, he was there and he was like Zach's sidekick, you know, just tap out. Just tap
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Anyway. And then he his contract expired. But his last year he worked for New Japan, he was not making a salary.
Oh.
Because Japanese people are very, very I don't know how to word this, but they're pretty non-tolerant of adultery.
Okay.
And it came out that he was, you know, having an affair on his wife like for a couple of years, and New Japan was like, nope, not having it. So he had to work a year without pay, and then Taka left. They didn't sign him again, but he came back, and I thought that was kind of odd because Taka did try to start his own promotion, but you know, honestly, like, you know, I mean, he got replaced by Tai Chi and those stupid rip-off pants, but whatever.
All right.
I hate those. Those are stupid. But anyways, I want Zack Sabre time again. So, but I will never know because, you know, New Japan doesn't tell people anything anymore.
So Taka and Suzuki were partnered up?
Yeah.
That
Apparently.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does sound awesome. Like, you know, I was like, wow, I didn't know that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I
would
had
love to see
no
that.
interest this year in Best of the Super Juniors. And usually that's one of my favorite tournaments.
Yeah.
I had no interest.
I didn't even hear when it happened. That's what I mean. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So a lot of these big tournaments, nobody knew. The last time I knew there was a big tournament and I knew when things were happening was the G1. And that was it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what else you got? We'll keep it moving.
No, I don't have anything else. It was really
right.
New Japan.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the releases then. NXT, WWE, they got a new wave of releases, but this was mostly backstage producers and trainers and talent scouts and the like. The only on-screen presence that I saw that was on the list was the I don't want to mess up his name, but I believe his last name is Suzuki as well, from Diamond Mine. He's gone.
Yeah.
And Timothy Thatcher. But my understanding is ever since NXT 2.0 came around, he's been almost strictly helping with training and coaching. That we haven't seen him in NXT 2.0 because he's been doing the other thing. Outside of that, William Regal, obviously a big one. Samoa Joe, a big one. Road Dogg Jesse James, Scott Armstrong, a bunch of names that have been with NXT for a long time. Matter of fact, one of them, I don't have the list of names in front of me. One of them was the first hire by WWE for NXT. Like, he was one of the big gets. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I talked about it a little bit yesterday, so I'll just give a quick run over. I just feel like it's kind of a house cleaning. It feels like any sports team when they have a couple of seasons that don't go well, they just let go of all of the all-stars, dump the coach, and bring in a whole new crew, and sometimes even a new owner, and say, hey, we're going to rebuild everything, is what it feels like. That if Black and Gold is truly gone and there's nothing from Black and Gold they want to carry over because they're doing a whole new thing, then you flush the system. And I totally get it sucks when you see these people who you super respect and absolutely love lose their jobs. But I also think that it's unrealistic to think that any company would hold on to any employee that they don't plan to utilize, regardless of how successful that company is. And I think that's all it is in this moment, they don't foresee using them right now. That doesn't mean I don't think a conversation could ever happen again. I know, who was it? I want to say it was Freddie Prinze Jr.'s podcast had mentioned a conversation he had with Vince where they had mentioned releasing someone, and Vince said, I'm doing them a favor because they can go on with their life. They can go, if they want to pursue it, they can pursue it elsewhere. Like, I'm doing them a favor by not just keeping them here and not doing anything with them either. Like, he viewed it as, this is a good thing for you. We all just think about it from a numbers game as a fan base. We just go, oh, money versus not money, take money. But I think there's a lot more to it, and I think that all these people were hopefully responsible with their money and have much more in savings than I have. And it doesn't mean I don't want them to have jobs. It just means that I think this is It's a dynamic and fascinating industry. That's the only reason why everyone he talks about it, including Justin Time's got a new podcast, Shouts. What do you guys think? I'll start with Amanda, just to give Klump a little bit more of a break on his throat there.
Yeah. Well, I was shocked about Regal. And only because Bowl is coming up. Tickets go on sale Monday. I'm personally right now torn. I don't think I'm going to go to Bowl just because of the COVID kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to see Jonah, but I don't need the Rona. So, but anyways, but Regal kind of shocks me because he was that person that really scouted a lot of those people that are there now, who are gone now. And it's interesting. So I'm wondering if Vince thinks, well, all these people, most of them that they don't want there, they're gone or whatever. Contracts ended, they didn't resign. So we're not bringing these new ones. We're going to do homegrown. So we don't really need Regal. That's not where we're going anymore. Or any of these people that are related to that. Like you can see, like a Samoa Joe. And it's kind of sad. It sucks. But, I can just see it now. Everyone's probably on the internet. Oh, they're going to, AEW is going to bring in Samoa Joe. Oh, they're going to bring in this person. No, they don't need that anymore. The only reason why you'd bring in Joe, because maybe you get some credibility back in Eddie Kingston.
Well,
okay,
maybe.
That's how I would use Samoa Joe at this point. And I would love to see Joe and Punk. Those were epic back in the day, and it can be epic now.
It could be. However, it was back in the day for a reason.
Yeah.
Realistically, I don't think Punk is wrestling like he used to, and I think it shows. I don't think the last few Samoa Joe matches we had were what he used to be either. I don't know that that's something that should be revisited strictly from the aspect of I don't want an Undertaker Goldberg situation. Not to say these guys aren't incredibly talented in every way. I was saying before, the last time they let go Samoa Joe, he to me is the new Paul Heyman. There's nothing he can't do on an incredibly high level, and if I was going to start a wrestling promotion, first thing I would do would be hire Samoa Joe to be my booker. You take care of that. I'll bring you talent. Your brain goes to work, not mine. Mm-hmm. Like, I would let him just fucking have the reins, dude. I think Samoa Joe, and I'm going to get your comment here in just a second, Klump, to me was the most jarring because in all of this, you can definitely tell they're fleshing out the black and gold stuff. But Samoa Joe, when he was released recently, tells the story that Triple H heard it in a meeting, stood up, walked out of the meeting, and got on the phone with Joe and said, "Don't sign anything with anybody. Let me get you back." And signed him back. Samoa Joe was the one person we knew, and Triple H never said a bad thing about William Regal either, and he said actually back in June that as long as William Regal wants a job in NXT, he will forever have one. The fact that all this is happening right now, the fact that William Regal leaves and Samoa Joe in the same thing, you can talk all you want about the guys that William Regal brought in and the guys that Triple H has backed and believed in, but the two dudes we knew with certainty because he said such were here because of Triple H, Samoa Joe and William Regal. The idea that they just got rid of Joe, oh man, this is the one that felt a little bit jarring to me in that, is there something, like I don't think it's a sale thing, but it didn't sit right the way that a lot of other business decisions I can chalk up to business decisions. Klump, what are you thinking?
I mean, it's disappointing in part. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm down on, the losses, but I get the aim of it, and it makes sense to me because from what we've seen, this is a real big change from NXT to 2.0. And I'm curious to see where else it goes because we still have talent from old NXT in it. And I mean, I don't want Cameron Grimes or Eli or LA Knight to go.
Yeah.
But they're from that old roster. They were big in that last year of it. So we'll see. That's my view of it. What's frustrating to me though is it hasn't. There were NXTs that were not great, but I think the 2-hour format has really hurt them, and NXT 2.0 for me hasn't really been at the same level as the NXT I used to watch, like week to week, and it does feel a bit frustrating. Now, toward the end, NXT got kind of rough because it seemed very focused on, like, I was done with the Johnny stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to say that. But this has felt kind of flat to me. There's been decent moments, but it's been just kind of like finding itself, and I don't know if rewriting everything and saying we're throwing it all against the window or against the wall was necessary, but they could have transitioned some stuff over.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about that too, especially being such big fans of Grimes and LA Knight. The only thing that I would say that, I mean, what the hell do we know? Is they were in black and gold, but they also didn't feel like they belonged in black and gold. They stuck out like a sore thumb in their own way. It was like, how are these guys even in this place? Because it's so different, right? I think that they're both tailor-made for an NXT 2.0 or main roster. If I'm being honest, I put LA Knight in the Royal Rumble, shoot him to SmackDown. Let's move on. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have him show up in NXT anymore. I would 100% put him in the Rumble. I'd have him get eliminated by a guy like an AJ Styles or a Cesaro, put him in a program with one of those two dudes. Let's get going, you know? Or a Sheamus. Well, I mean, the thing is, LA Knight's easy to hate, but I don't know, man. He was really charismatic when we saw him in NWA. He was a super babyface over there, so.
Super.
Yeah, I could see an LA Knight talking some shit on Sheamus and getting it worked. I could see him in a program with AJ Styles, and AJ can go either way, obviously, master. So that's what I would do there, but that's off topic.
I do think, speaking of Cameron Grimes, in that promo, I know we're jumping way ahead, but I really think now, you said, oh yeah, you know, you see LA Knight in the Rumble. I think we're gonna see Cameron Grimes in the Rumble. Because, you know, he said it's 2022 the moon. Yeah. So I thought that was great. Corny as shit, but I love it. But I think I definitely think that they're gonna position him to move out. And that's the way to do it. And now there are other people in NXT that I'm like, man, they you know, I don't want them to, you know, like all of a sudden they're on the chopping block, like Legado, the Phantasm. I'm like, come on, just move them up there, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
those guys are ready.
They've been ready, you know?
But at the same time, so was Thatcher. You could have put Thatcher on the main roster and he would have worked. I honestly think Thatcher would have worked on the main roster just the same way that Daniel Bryan did.
Absolutely.
To be honest. What was that, Klump?
No, I agree. I think Thatcher and Ciampa on the main roster as a tag team would have been fantastic. Or separately, because while they're smaller, they have an air about both of them that is menacing and scary and, you know, badass. They kind of transcend their size.
Yeah. Like a Ray or a Daniel Bryan, 100%, man. Producer, you have something?
Sorry, I was just pouring my peanut butter whiskey. Yeah, I tend to agree with Marsh. I think it, you know, obviously sucks because these are all people that we love. You know, we love what they did for the talent that we love. Especially being there just for so long. You hate to see that. But like I said yesterday, I don't think any of these folks don't have options, you know, outside of this company. They obviously, you know, probably didn't want to go this way. But I mean, I'm so glad that a lot of them were there for so long. And it, you know, having worked in big corporations, you know, it just sucks either way when you're let go, no matter how long you've been there. But I don't think this is the sign of a company that's about to be sold. Personally, I think it's just it's a rebranding, and it sucks because I've definitely been there when a company has restructured, and it's a bummer. But I think that's all it is. I think it's going to be completely different, and I this one did kind of make me wonder, like, is Triple H okay? Because he's been awfully absent for a while since we heard about his heart issue, you know. So I'm kind of concerned in that regard, but that's all. But
that's true too. What if part of it is just, I mean, this is just ridiculous speculation and I acknowledge that, but what if part of it is the idea that what if Triple H is deciding to step away entirely? NXT largely has been for a long time Triple H's playground. It was his little sandbox where when Road Dogg was released from SmackDown because he didn't want to work on that creative anymore, within like a week or two he was swooped up and brought into NXT. HBK was doing a thing, swooped up by NXT. Samoa Joe released in the main roster, swooped up by NXT. It was Triple H's bubble to do what he wanted with, and maybe to play devil's advocate for a second, maybe it is a sign of a sale in that why do you need a Triple H playground if you're going to get rid of it, or if you're going to sell the company? How do you explain that part of the company that's not making money or bringing in revenue without just doing a complete dump and rebranding and saying this is because we develop here, not because it's Triple H's playground?
Yeah, and I just thought of, you know, if that was my spouse that had a near heart attack, you know, I'm sure, like, I would think a doctor, if not a spouse, would say, hey, you have too much stress. Like, you need to stop with everything that you're doing too much, because it is taking a toll.
Yeah. Klump, what do you think? What do you think, Klump? I want to hear from you.
I can get that. I can agree with that. I think, you know, maybe a big part of this is the possible move out of Triple H. And those reasons are valid. I think we don't know where WWE is going. I'm curious. I mean, overall, it seemed like in the past year, besides Triple H, you've seen a lot less of everyone attached to the McMahon family.
Yeah.
Not just Triple H, not just Vince, but Shane, who doesn't have really an executive role, is gone, not really present, and Steph too. So maybe everyone's taking a little bit of a step back from things, and who knows? I mean, it's curious.
Yeah, it is. I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and I mean, obviously nothing but well wishes for the best of everyone who did get released, and I do think that they're all so brilliant and talented that if none of them work again in wrestling, I truly believe that's by choice, because I think everyone has shown their value in the industry enough that companies turning them away seems to me to be completely unreasonable to imagine. So,
Jeremy in time in the chat saying that Klump sounds like the Undertaker.
Yes, the Klumper Taker.
Yep. Yeah. Klump in peace.
Oh, that's worse. I was gonna say rest in poop, but Klump in peace is worse, dude. I love it.
We could combine them, Klump and poop.
Yeah.
Klump and poop.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Anything else on it? I mean, even any of the releases. I agree with you as far as William Regal being released. I thought was pretty crazy, and Samoa Joe. Obviously, we went on for like an hour and a half one night just about how amazing he is. So I don't know that we have to keep rehashing that, but he is just so tremendous. But with Regal, I mean, who says that he's not going to take this as an opportunity to retire and just slow down? Like, you never know. Yeah,
and I mean, I just think if you're going at the level that he was going for so long, I would want to rest at some point. Like, I just want to retire and relax, like chill. Yeah. Because that I mean, you know, old school wrestlers have talked about how it takes a toll on their body.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I could see him just wanting to retire. And I mean, we thought he was going to retire
when Joe came in.
Yeah, when Joe came up and, you know, he was doing that speech, that promo where he was crying. I legit thought that was his last night.
Yeah, I thought he was going to retire, and I feel like that the only reason he didn't was because Joe got hurt.
So I was mentally prepared for him. I was mentally prepared for Regal not being with the company. I didn't want it to go this way, but you know, it is what it is, and I hope he just gets to enjoy whatever he does next.
And who knows? None of us know anybody's conversations that anyone's had with anybody, and it's all speculation. Any podcast tells you differently. It's got their head up their ass. But
that's a lot of them.
yeah. But who's to say that Regal didn't plan to retire at that point? Joe got injured and then didn't retire, and then they said, "Hey, get us through the new year, help us through this transition, and then off into the sunset you go." Maybe it was already predetermined. You just don't know. The fact that WWE put out a press statement prior to the release and releases coming to light was already different than other things. So it made me think that everyone here knew. But at the same time, some of the tweets made it sound like maybe they didn't. Or maybe they did but still didn't believe it. I don't know. It's just a little difficult. But they put out a press release to Fightful specifically saying, we are going to be doing a series of releases today through production and backstage, through NXT. We wish them all the best, and we appreciate everything they've done, all that stuff, like they say. As any professional company might say when they release somebody.
I like your idea there of they brought in Joe because Regal might retire, and then they were like, yeah, we'll bring, we'll go this route, and then they just fired both of them.
Well, yeah, then they're all like, you know what?
You know what? No.
I flashed back to when I was let go during a company restructuring, and right after they let me go, and I was out the building, they emailed like all of staff. And the hilarious part is that morning I brought everyone bagels. Like I went and spent my own money, so it was just like extra like shitty for them.
Oh.
Yeah. So the company just looked like assholes, but
yeah,
it was
just so happened to be that way. Bring everyone bagels, donuts, schmear, and you're like, hey guys, it's me. I brought in everything. And then an hour and a half later, everyone's like, oh my God, she's incredible. She brought all these bagels. And then fucking email pops up. Yeah. We've released her. We do not wish her best in the future endeavors.
That's exactly how it went down. Yeah. To the point where
don't eat the bagel because it's poisoned. So
I did bring schmear too. Because it was New York.
It's New York. You gotta have schmear.
Yeah.
I imagine people were like taking bites of their bagel as they're reading the email, and they just kind of like slowly bring it down, like, oh.
Yeah, people were pissed.
The best would have been if as you're in the office having that conversation, the dude who's like talking to you has the bagels, like,
yeah.
Well, these are great. Who brought these in?
Yeah. Dude's like schmearing a bagel right there. He's like, so we're just gonna have to let you go. It's not really you. I mean, we're restructuring. What are you going to do? Wow, these bagels are so fresh.
Oh, good.
But
thank you.
To stay on topic.
I mean, your bagels. I mean,
A real team player brought these in.
Yeah. Point is, I can laugh about it now.
Yeah.
So it just.
But in the moment, that was a fucking gut punch.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was horrible. And I like moved out. I had a bad breakup, so it was just like the week from hell.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
But funny now.
Yeah. She like walks over to the counter with all the bagels and just like, wah! Throws them everywhere. Fuck you! These bagels are mine!
I've never seen bagels at your house, so maybe it's not past.
It's a good point, to be honest.
Are you an English?
She's not having bagels around the house much, so there's a really good chance it's a sour spot. She's always slowly takes a bite out of bagel. I don't know, it just tastes bad to me. I don't know, it tastes pretty good. I don't know, just tastes bad. It doesn't taste like regret to you, this bagel? No, it tastes like pumpernickel. Yeah. I got everything, including the regret and the loss.
Yeah. Regret, loss, fennel.
I went to cheers you.
All right. Klump, was there anything else you want to say about any of the releases specifically or any of that?
No, I'm good there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we jump to the next thing, Amanda, was there anything else on that you wanted to make sure you threw out?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to pitch it back to Klump. We talked a little bit ago about wishing people best in their future endeavors and how a professional company might handle something like a release. Klump, that brings us to you. You had something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so great transition there, dude. Kind of in the opposite vein of that. So a few weeks ago, we heard Big Swole was released from AEW, and last week, did the producer not know that?
I don't know.
But yeah,
I have no idea what that was about.
Yeah,
keep going.
Last week, Big Swole gave an interview and talked about it. They listed a few things that they had trouble with, and part of their leaving, and they gave some, they talked about the company a bit, and then maybe in this is where I jump in and where I'm frustrated. I'm not going to argue somebody's arguments about diversity. Ultimately, I'm a white dude. Same with Marsh. So when it comes to talking about diversity, which is a big thing that she talked about in terms of her struggles with the company, we don't have a leg to stand on there. However, Tony Khan tweeted back at her.
Well, correction, tweeted back at her implies that she tweeted to begin with. She said something on...
in an interview, which you are correct, yes. And
I believe it might not have even been an interview. My understanding is it was her own Twitch stream that Dirt Sheet picked up and wrote about.
Fair.
But continue.
But fair, and even in that, so either one of those avenues, whether it's a Twitch stream or an interview, those are avenues where you might be a bit more nebulous. You might talk a bit more openly and stuff like that. It's very different than yelling into the void, which Twitter is, and lighting up a firestorm under you. But Tony Khan tweeted in response to it, and do you got the tweet pulled up by chance, or I can pull it up?
Go ahead and pull it up. I'm gonna hit the chat while you do. Zari31 says Klump sounds hot. Wink. Dude, I agree. Me
That
and
is
you.
fair.
I'm having a hard time getting through this episode. Cause he's in my ear, like I got an ear pod in, like I'm just hearing that voice, like shivers in the spine. You know what I mean? Also, we got Stackhouse in the house. Stackhouse. Whoop, whoop. He said they done fired everybody. Oh, come on, man.
Yep.
They did, though. I mean, to be honest, too, when you go through something like that, like, who's to say they weren't just trying to flush out the entire mentality of, hey, we don't want anyone who can ever say, or who can, at least for the foreseeable future, to say, like, I don't know, man, on the Black and Gold, we did things like this. All right, well, maybe we're not going that direction right now, so maybe they're just, cutting ties. I've seen companies release people who were around for a long time just specifically to make sure they flushed out a literal mentality, and I actually have seen people come back later when they could now reacclimate to the current mentality. So I digress.
Okay.
Klump, back to you.
Okay, so I got the tweet. So when it came out, what Big Swole said, and it got tweeted by Dirt Sheets and reported by Dirt Sheets. Tony Khan tweeted at Fightful Wrestling's article and said, the top two AEW executives are Brown, me, and Mega. Jade, Anthony Bowens, Max Caster, Dante, Nyla, Isaiah, and Mark Quinn all won on TV this month. The TBS title tournament has been very diverse. I let Swole's contract expire because I felt that her wrestling wasn't good enough. Hashtag AEW Rampage Street Night Fight Tonight. And this is where my frustration comes in, because I don't think you have to. You don't have to be as active. You can just be a person. It doesn't matter who you are to be upset by this. This is a dude whose voice box is huge, who's the representative of a company and is seen as the face of a company, responding to an employee who didn't directly say anything to him and just going off on them. And further, the response, if I'm honest, and you and I talked about this a little bit, it comes off like well, I have diverse friends argument.
Yes.
And that's really shitty. There's a reason in my eyes that WWE just says future endeavors and leaves it be. Let the people say what they want. Let them be as angry as they want. But don't respond. You're a company. You're not a person. And it's cruel. I mean, it's cruel and it's stupid and it's nasty. And what's funny to me in it, in kind of a sick way, is so in that Twitch stream, I'll read a quote from Swole, or their opener where all this started. They stated, "I believe that the company is making better strides than before, but a couple of things need to be fixed. You need to be able to call people out because not everything is perfect," she said.
Yeah.
I hope they listen to this with an open heart and not just, she's saying that because of X, Y, Z. I genuinely want them to succeed. I love this art form. I love wrestling, and I can't wait to I want it to succeed, and I want people in it to succeed if they are genuine people. And then he literally responded with, she's just saying this because of X, Y, Z.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I know you had a comment kind of like on this.
Yeah, I'll jump on in. 100%. The problem with it is I agree with Klump. I mean, although we both have Mexican backgrounds, I'm half Mexican, so I feel like that we are sensitive to the plight, with also recognizing that by virtue of face alone, we are approached by society as white males, and that makes a difference.
Yeah.
That we don't understand it from the same. We don't experience the same thing they do, and I think that being able to see both sides of it, because you're having family in it versus not being attacked that same way. Like, I make jokes about my white privilege all the time amongst me and my friends, because it's like, oh, I got pulled over, I didn't have to worry about a thing. Like, it's bullshit. Like, it's bullshit. But I see it and I know it and I understand it. With that in mind, I don't feel any right to critique the criticism that Swole had. If that was her experience, that was her experience. And unless you were experiencing the same things through her eyes at that time, it's hard to even approach it with anything other than a listening ear.
Mm-hmm.
However, her boss did not approach it, or her former boss did not approach it with a listening ear. And I think that's where the problem is it comes down to professionalism and how do you approach this. Imagine in a former life, maybe I worked for a company like Apple, and maybe I'm a black male and I have an issue with it. I quit the job. I go on my Twitch stream. I'm playing games, and somehow someone just happens to be in stream, and they hear me say, "Oh yeah, I had to quit that job because I couldn't get a promotion. I think the store I was at had a race issue. There's no black management in my whole store." Imagine that gets picked up by a small sect of journalism. To be honest, this isn't Fightful is not the Washington Times. You know what I mean? And then Tim Cook retweets it with, "We have 28 black managers throughout the entire retail structure. That person couldn't get promoted because they're stupid and can't learn. Hashtag new AirPods in stores now." Like, how the fuck would that be approached? People would go, what the fuck is Tim Cook doing? Why would he, for one, respond to it at all? Secondly, respond to it with an attack. And thirdly, say, I can't be racist, I have black friends. And that's really what came across as 100% deaf ears. I'm absolutely not listening. I refuse to listen because I'm not critiquable. It came off as so utterly tone deaf and unprofessional that, to me, that was the problem. Any professional, any manager who's more than a manager and actually steps into a role of leadership would understand that there's so much wrong with everything he just said. He's not a leader. He is a calculator with a wallet. And that's what he comes off as. He's a spoiled rich kid there because he's not listening to critique. If he actually cared at all, he would have never tweeted. He would have called Swole up and said, I didn't realize you felt that way. And I disagree with you. And that's why I think it's important we talk about this, because I don't see it the way you do. But that's not what he did. He got shitty, petulant. He goes online and says, watch AEW tonight. And you're like, come on.
Yeah, that's exactly... Sorry, producer lady here real quick.
Oh, from an HR perspective.
Hey. No, that's exactly how I felt, that, just because you own a company doesn't mean you are an effective leader.
Yes.
And having absolutely no empathy is just not the way to go, ever. Like, it was astonishing, because I thought the same thing as Marsh did. Like any other company, you would not have the leader, the owner, come out and respond in this way. It was just the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And I felt really bad. I felt really bad for her, because it's just someone saying, it's basically someone saying your experience doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And fuck you. Like, that's what it felt like. And I was just like, God damn, it would really suck to be her. Because whether you like her or not, I mean, that's what she experienced. So to completely invalidate that, it's hard to watch. And to me, honestly, it's hard for me to be a fan of that company when that's the leadership. Like, quote unquote leadership.
And ultimately what he said was irrelevant, because the idea that she was saying was, she was talking about how she felt like diversity was an issue, representation was an issue, and that she felt that as a black woman, seeing other women fight for TV time the way that they were, that there was a problem there that could be solved. And his response was, well, here's all the black people I let win on TV.
Yes.
And you're like, no.
It's the equivalent of naming all of your friends of color, which
But it's
is
also almost
creepy.
worse because she's saying, like, as a woman experiencing it, I see these issues. So he's like, well, here's all the black men I let win, so hurrah to me.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. That's not even relevant to her argument.
Yeah.
Her argument was, as a black woman, I'm seeing this thing in the women division, and he lists a bunch of men that he has bestowed success upon.
He did
As
list
he's-
Nyla Rose.
Go ahead. Yes.
Sorry.
Right, but
Yes, Nyla Rose is an exception.
I mean, professionals would have said, "We hear you. I'm sorry that's what you experienced. We are working on it." That's all he had to say.
Or
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that's what you experienced. We will strive to do better, because that's what you should do.
yeah, or truthfully as well, like if you want to be shitty in a professional way, just don't respond.
Yeah.
It's easy to not say a fucking thing, but they did that extra step. It does echo a thing that we've said a lot about Tony, or the feeling that's kind of been here among us with Tony, is that he's a wrestling fan. And like, first, yes, he's a boy, but his frustrations, his anger, all this toxic shit he throws out, comes from the perspective of a boy, less a company owner.
Yeah.
I don't think his father, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, would have said something like that if a player was released.
I did a quick flashback, and I can't remember what it was I told you, Marsh, that Tony had written online that I said, "Oh, that person's a douchebag." If he said that to me at a party, I would be grossed out.
Oh, I remember exactly what it was.
What was it?
He said, if you buy someone an expensive dinner, you expect them to say thank you.
Oh, yeah. That's a dude that goes on a date and expects you to put out because he paid for the date. Like, no, that's a douchebag.
Yeah, because he said that he had helped out with Empower, and he goes, they were supposed to say more about what I did for them, and they didn't. And I think that's unfortunate, because if someone takes you out for an expensive dinner, you expect them to say thank you. You should get a thanks. And he goes, they didn't say enough about how much I did for them. In response to a woman journalist asking him about what he was going to do for his women's division, his response was, I paid for NWA to do women's wrestling, and they didn't say thank you enough.
Yeah.
And shut her up.
And I know this is not the same at all, but I got the same gross feeling where I was like, oh, God, you are fucking disgusting. Like when I heard about Swole, that's the first thought. I was just like, oh, my God, you are the grossest person.
Yeah.
It's rough. It makes you appreciate silence, which is what, like, just the impression this gives me as a wrestling fan of the character of Tony Khan. And I'm not saying this to knock the promotion. I'm not saying this to knock the performers there. If you're working there, you're there and you're doing a good job. I like a lot of performers there. I'm saying this to him as a person running a company. The impression it gives me is that he doesn't have the open door policy Vince does, where it doesn't matter what somebody says, he tries to make amends, which we've seen over and over again. You know, whether that be bringing someone in for a Legends contract, assisting them in getting help. A lot of things we hear. I don't get that impression here, and that may be wrong, and that may be me being an asshole, but when somebody goes out of their way as a billionaire to shit on someone that they fired, I have a problem with that.
Yeah. And that's my problem with it, too, is that it was just utterly disrespectful, tone deaf, and unprofessional. And the idea that there's just so many people trying to stick up for him, saying, like, no, you should be allowed to clap back. You should be able to talk shit back. I'm like, name another CEO who would get away with that. It's
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm curious if Amanda's. Oh, but real quick.
Yeah, I wonder what Amanda thinks as well, but go ahead.
Do you want to hit the chat real quick and then go to Amanda? Or?
In the chat, Jeremy in Time says, like Bishop said in his newest episode, Tony Khan is Shane McMahon if he didn't grow up in the business. One of the most perfect comparisons I've ever heard. Yeah, Tony Khan is a Shane McMahon, except he didn't grow up in the business. He saw it from the outside of the business, so he experiences it much different. But to be honest, if I'm being critical of the comparison, because Bishop is known for his terrible wrestling takes, so it's hard not to be critical. If I'm being honest, I would think Vince the part of the reason I think Shane went off to make his own money and do what he did was because I don't think Vince was going to be as giving to his kids or spoil his kids in a way. Shane, the reason he jumps off everything because he knows he has to prove himself. I don't think Shad Khan forced Tony to prove himself in a similar regard, but again, it's maybe being a little picky there. Baron says he grew up dreaming of the business. Yeah, and that's a different thing. Amanda, I want to know what you think about all this.
Well, first I have to comment about the whole, dreaming of business. It's true. It's really true. I think sometimes I know more than he does. And I just watch his shit and I talk to people. So yeah, I guess that makes me worse than a dirt sheet writer, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I wonder that every day. But anyways, not surprised about Tony Khan, to be honest with you. The impression that I got when I first saw Tony Khan in person was at PWG, and I will remember this always. I was probably about maybe 10 feet away from him. And of course, every fucking mark and all you PWG regulars know who you are and who ran up to him. Okay, I can name you all. But I just I had a feeling. And I'm like, this guy's a fucking just douche canoe. Okay, he's the kind of guy that probably didn't get anything when he was growing up, didn't get some from the ladies. But then when you start flashing some money around, yeah, you get attention. And, and I think that's kind of how, I really think that's probably how AEW kind of started. And, Cody and all them can say whatever they want about, we wanted to, do this and blah, blah, blah. No. I personally think that it came off, the whole thing was swole. It came off like a real fucking douche canoe. And I'm like, dude, you already give that vibe off. Okay. You already, in my opinion, you make people that I've known for a long time or a while, he's turned them into these like weird, like yes people. Okay, you flash money around at people, and yeah, when you don't have something, you'll do whatever they say, And then you have some people who, they're totally grounded. They've been in it for a while and just like, nothing phases me. You see one carny person, you see them all. I really think that with Tony, it's really more of, okay, he's put himself in this like godlike role. Okay. For him to compare himself with Vince McMahon, it's like, sweetheart, he's been doing this since probably he was like, who knows how old? And you're just doing it because your daddy gave you a bunch of money. Because Let me tell you, if I had a father that gave me a bunch of money, do you think I'd start a promotion? Fuck yeah, I would. And you know what? I would take down both of them.
I mean, having
that's
worked...
not my dream. That's not my dream because I don't want to deal with that because some of these wrestlers are divas. Sit your fucking ass down, whatever. But I think seriously that I would get some of what I would think would be great creative minds that aren't in the industry, partner them with people who are in the industry, and guess what? It's going to be a better product than what you've got, Tony, and then what other people have. Okay? My thing is this. There's a reason why we see the same things on Rampage, see the same things on Dynamite. They're like all his favorites.
Yeah.
Okay? There's no diversity there at all. I love how he was like, oh, I'm brown and this dude's, I don't even know who the other guy is. I don't even fucking care who that guy is. But for you to say, oh, I'm brown. Well, what if it was something with, an Asian person? Because technically, since you're Middle Eastern, if I'm not mistaken, aren't those countries in Asia? I don't know. I've been in the motherland over here forever, so I don't know. My geography is bad. But it seems like you're playing this card, dude, that it upset me because it's like, why are you throwing this card down? And then mention all these names, okay? And it bothered me that 2 of the names, one, Bowens, and Nyla Rose. I'm like, really? You're gonna use these 2 names that also not only are they a brown person, but they fit other categories, LGBTQ, transgender, all this stuff. And then I got even more pissed about that because I'm like, who the fuck are you to say all that?
Amanda, I have a question. Sorry, go ahead, Klump.
I was gonna say, it did feel like I gotta find the most diverse people to throw out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my
if
question.
Jake Atlas was signed, he probably would have said Jake Atlas because Jake Atlas is technically brown.
No, I totally agree with you that I mean, having worked for someone that was a trust fund baby and just grew up having millions, obviously different than billions, but there definitely is something to be there's something to be said for people who work for what they have and people who are just given what they have. I think that's a very work ethic comes into play and character comes into play. But I am wondering, Amanda, what you think of how this affects just wrestling on a whole. How does this impact what everyone thinks of wrestling now, especially for the casual viewers, right?
Well, if I was a
Vince
casual
tweeted something
viewer,
like this, it would be out.
yeah,
If Vince tweeted something like this, like fucking the New York Post would have picked it up.
that would be the end of it. They'd be on CNN. We'd see Anderson Cooper talk about it. Maybe interview, I don't know who he would interview. I don't know, the recently, released William Regal, because he kind of did a lot there, just besides, coaching and doing whatever and whatever, right? But I think that with the state of wrestling, it tells us that it's not in a better place. I think it's almost, we've just stepped back 3 spaces because now people already don't give those kind of wrestling the credibility excuse me, it should have. But now it's like, is this like a soap opera? Like, what kind of, this is a horrible soap opera. I mean, it's not on, it's not like a telenovela. It's not like, all these other things. This is just a really shitty soap opera. I can't remember. Oh, that show Passions. Okay, people, I know I just dated myself, but you know what? That was a shitty soap opera. Okay. Google it. Okay. Don't know if I'm talking about.
I don't know if you can Google it. You might have to look it up in an encyclopedia.
Yeah, that too. But I really think that it steps back. And I think that all the strives that have happened, and I know I had mentioned this on episode 1 on the our boozies, that one of the things that I loved, it was the whole for the culture movement, and now you basically shit on it, dude. And you have a wrestler who wears the BLM armband. Dante Martin wears it, and his brother wears it. So
It's
like, what are you trying to say? Like, because if I were a person of color who worked for him, I don't care if I was on stage, on screen, not on screen, whatever. I'd be all, who the fuck is this guy? I don't care if you're signing my check, but you know what? There's just some things you just don't do. And he kind of crossed the line. Now, is it related to a lot of people saying things? Like, I know Will Hobbs said something. I think Sean Dean said something. People are trying to say Ricky Starks deleted his Twitter because of whatever. That I don't know. Speculation. But I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where if I seriously were to be under that umbrella, I'd be really embarrassed. And then 2, like, kind of think of, well, when are you going to use me as some kind of pawn in, this like sick, little game you like to play?
Yeah, and how does
strategically placed just in case this argument came up is a really sickening feeling.
I'm just curious on how this is going to affect even the indies, because
I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't see a massive impact there, other than I do think that in the most, like, I think the least amount of damage he did, like, as far as, like, a best case scenario, he comes off as super unapproachable to the people who work for him. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he might yes man me to my face and make it sound like he's listening to me, but knowing that he's at any given moment ready to just flip around and say, nope, you suck, and I have these friends, like, it's kind of like, oh, maybe he's not really listening. You know what I mean? Like, if I had a manager say that to me, I'd be like, oh, okay, so I don't need to approach that person. I see how they are. Like, it's a tough situation to be in. I suppose if you work for him, hopefully you're able to get the things you need to get done. Like, because I do think there's a lot of people in that company who are really good people who are trying to make huge strides for representation.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just hopeful that because he's so willing to be vocal, to clap back, as they say, the way he was shitty to that journalist, the way he was shitty to this, and he's not vocal about changing or being different. The journalist who he said something to said that she ended up getting a DM from him and said it's all good now. And people were like, no, it's not all good now. If he's going to publicly reprimand you in public, then he can publicly make a statement saying, I was in the wrong. And he didn't, and he never did. So if he's not willing to be accountable to himself, it just makes things look a little messy.
Yeah, I just wish that there was... I wish that there was a similar company that was doing things right, in order to show that, hey, this isn't how it has to be. Because I think, I'm assuming that that's why fans are so behind him, right? Because if he disappears and the company disappears, there goes a lot of jobs, right? And that's not what we want. We don't want to see less wrestling on TV. We just want it to be better. And I don't understand why that is so difficult to demand.
Yeah. And I just hope that people who are there with those intents are able to do those things, even if it's because he's got egg on his face and he's not willing to say it in public. Hopefully, quietly, secretly, he's like, all right, I super fucked up and I need to really listen to these other people who are trying to make these moves. You know what I mean?
I don't see
Klump,
that happening.
All right, well, Klump, go ahead.
One second. Okay. What I was going to say is it has been picked up, unfortunately, by a few different sports publications, not in favor of him. And also, what I was going to say here, what frustrates me so much, and I didn't throw this out earlier, is that Tony doesn't know his role, as he is the face of a company and his fan base views him as one of them, and he loves to play into that. And because of this bullshit, because of actions like this or with that other journalist, when he commits these actions, they support him. And it has been so Swole has said since then she's had a lot of blowback from fans. And against her daughter too.
Yeah, even threatening her daughter, like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane that she's being attacked for sharing her experience. Like, that to me is just disagree, with if you're a fan or not of hers. That to me is just so telling of the fan base. And it's just a real shame coming from someone like me who's, more of a casual fan, I would say. Like, this is such a turnoff just in general to this, to the company itself.
Yeah, this is a big black eye. And Klump had read it before. She didn't say anything like outrageous or unprofessional. She said everything very professionally and very hopeful and all that. Like,
no.
And I don't want to pretend, because I know people like to dig up shit. I don't want to pretend that I've been saying from day one that Big Swole's the greatest wrestler it's ever been. I've been very critical of her, and I haven't personally enjoyed a lot of her matches, but I don't think any of that is relevant to the idea of, because who the hell am I? I'm just some dude who's watching on TV. I'm watching you be a star on TV, and I'm being critical. It doesn't matter. But your boss? What? But criticism from your boss coming out publicly like that, saying this person sucks, from the owner of a company? All of us podcasts can say we like who we like, we don't like who we don't like, and any wrestler who says, what the fuck do you know? You're right. What the fuck do I know? And any podcaster who pretends, no, I know because I watch a lot. fuck off. We don't know anything. We are just sitting here judging what we like based off of the things that we like. I don't like this. I don't think they're good. Irrelevant. All you people on TV, keep doing what you do because it got you there and you're doing it. Just try to be better than you were the last time. You're only as good as your last match. I believe that. Always go be better. And a lot of them do. So I just don't want it to look like, oh, I'm suddenly defending Swole when I was critical of her work before and saying she's great. I'm not saying she's great. I'm saying what Tony did was fucked up, regardless of if she's a good wrestler or not. None of that's relevant to any of this. You know what I mean? Because I've seen a lot of people attack her saying like, well, he's not wrong. What do you mean? He's absolutely wrong. Just because you agree with the sentiment of what he said doesn't mean the content of what he said, or maybe vice versa. The content of what he said versus the sentiment is the problem, right? You don't have the owner of a company say, nope, you suck and you can't learn, versus a bunch of us idiots online tweeting saying like, didn't like that match. Fuck off.
And critical criticism doesn't mean that you don't want to see that person do better. That's not what that means. That means this is what could be worked on, you know? Like that's like a helpful nod. That doesn't mean that this is how you are permanently. No, that means cool, room for improvement. Yeah. Awesome. I know a direction to go to.
Especially if you don't agree with it. 100%. If I'm the owner of a company and I don't see that as a problem, and someone leaves and said, I saw that as a big problem. Oh, I wasn't even trying to improve that because I thought it was fine. I guess it's not fine. You know what I mean? Like, you use that information as a way to go, okay, this perception is out there. How do we address that perception? Whether I think it's right or wrong, whether I believe the perception is just, it's a perception that's out there because it's someone's experience. How do we make sure other people's experience don't produce that same perception? You just start addressing it, but that's not his case. He goes, no, fuck you, you suck. And it's like, ugh. Jeremy in Time in the chat says, even indie wrestler Darius Lockhart, who has been on Dark Elevation, came out and voiced his frustrations with Tony's tweet. Mm-hmm. You would think with such an outpouring of negative reactions, Tony would apologize, but he's so thick-headed and tone-deaf that he won't make any statement. He even still has the tweet up to this day.
Yeah, to me, when I heard his response, I just thought, wow, that is like such a 15-year-old response. Like, fuck you, dude. Yeah. Whatever. You're wrong. I'm right. Yeah. Like, that's just so immature.
Yeah. It was an awful moment for sure. And
it's definitely
go ahead.
I was going to say, it's definitely very reminiscent of the Twitter IWC. Mm-hmm. That the whole attitude, everything. And it's like, if everyone wants change, it starts from the top down. Yep. And obviously he's okay with being, like that, taking no responsibility. But Joe Schmo over here, who's got a avatar of, I don't know, Mox, let's just say, like is saying all, whatever. No. Just because Tony did doesn't mean you have to do it, because either one is wrong. People, come on, it's wrong. I mean, the internet community has done so much to either hurt people who are in the industry, who are not in the industry. It's been too much, and I have to ask, when's it going to stop? Yeah. Because Tony just added more fuel to the fire. It's not even. It's really not even a race thing, really. Now that I think of it, it's a problem. It's an entitlement problem, and I mean, he's the most entitled of them all. He's got billions, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's like nobody cares, because when you start having a product and it's been doing this, and anyone can agree with me, and if they don't think that I'm, this is my opinion, but it's the same bullshit. Even on the internet wrestling, it's the same things over and over again. Okay, there are people who are released. I don't know. I don't think anybody in this wave is going to catch his eye, but apparently he said there's somebody big he's signing. Yeah. Who knows? I don't care. There's only one name I want to see right now, and he ain't going to do it. Yeah. So, call me, Tony Khan, when you do it, when you drop the hammer, because then it'll show me you have fucking balls. But for now, you don't. You're a eunuch. to me. Wiping my hands clean.
Yeah, and then all that much more. Shout out to all the people in that company who are staying with the company to try and make that change and be that difference, and make sure that is not the end of the story. Like, absolutely, I support those people who are fighting that fight. You know, we've talked about her before, but you think of like Thunder Rosa and the stuff she's trying to do for women's wrestling, and you know that this isn't going to make her sit back and relax about it. You know, it's gonna fire her up, and she's going to work that much harder and get stuff done, and like, more power to you, and nothing but support and love from our side. Jeremy does say hashtag not our side of the IWC because of the people talking shit, but yeah, 100%. Let's talk a little bit about wrestling. Moving along, I just thought that Klump wanted to talk about it. It was something he definitely didn't want to miss, and I thought that we haven't had the conversation, but one of the things we like to do here is take the IWC to task, and on that very day, Tony Khan showed himself as a member of the IWC more than anything else, and that was the unfortunate bit. Is it's not that hard to be so much better, you know. And the thing is I do think that his heart is good. I think he cares about his wrestlers. I think he cares about his company. I think he cares about his fans. I think
he has an inferiority complex, though.
Well, he's got things to deal with.
He can't. Well, I think he has. It's not for a lack of passion. It's that
yes,
he is not aware of how you run a company, and he cannot separate himself from it, which is what he needs to do.
Yes, 100%. I think that the possibility for him to get there is there. I think it's possible for him to be better, and that's the only reason why I think that it was okay to have this conversation and important to have the conversation, because I'm not saying he's listening or he ever would listen, but if the conversation is out there, I think that it's possible for him to change. Whether he will or won't is on him. Go ahead, Amanda.
I already told you guys, people
quiet.
listen. We have
Say
proof
what?
now. People listen.
Well, we do know people listen, but
And yeah, we do know.
Tony's one of them.
Yeah, if he wants to do it, dude, I'll have a nice discussion with you, dude.
I'll have a drink with Tony.
Oh.
He's
Yeah,
living
we'll
the dream.
talk to you.
I got questions.
Yeah, we've got questions. Hopefully you have answers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, I've said it before. In a lot of ways, Tony is a hero to us all as fans. Imagine being dumped with a couple $1 billion in your lap and saying, "Yeah, I guess go run a wrestling organization. You can start it now."
Yeah, we just want this to promote.
Fuck yeah.
We want this to promote the good in wrestling, not.
Yes, we don't want it to be another story in wrestling. We don't want it to be another dark side.
We don't want it to mirror what we absolutely despise and those that we hate.
Yeah.
Well,
Quote unquote.
you know, now that I'm thinking about it, you know how Pro Wrestling Tees had their little squabble on Twitter?
We had an issue, yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, these apples don't fall far from the tree, you know? And I get it.
That's
Y'all made a
damn
lot of
shame.
money.
Yep.
You know, you made a lot of money over the last like 4 or 5 years. A lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So what
And,
did, yeah.
you know, I don't know.
All right.
It's
so
crappy.
do we want to talk about what we liked about wrestling this week?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go and start with the AEW stuff. And we'll close it out with some NXT because we're already on AEW. Might as well keep it going, keep the ball rolling. Talk about the goodness in it all. Amanda, go ahead. I didn't ask either one of you if you guys watched anything. I just knew that we'd be able to talk on enough stuff. And if you guys both said, didn't watch a thing, let's close it up. We still got enough content. Amanda.
Well, I watched some. You know,
Yeah.
I had to see
I watched some too.
I had to see the Jake Atlas thing. And now that we were talking about Tony, when Tony came out and shook his hand afterwards, boy, that just doesn't seem very genuine anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't mean to
There's a few
shit
things
on
I think
it.
that happened this week that right after that tweet, people said, huh.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
All right. So I'm a little lost because I haven't seen or heard of either of these things. So
Oh,
Do you know who Jake Atlas is?
yes, I do.
He had a match on Dark Elevation. He won the match, and Tony Khan came out and shook his hand.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he's now the
All
token
elite.
person.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't need tokens. We need What? I'm just saying. That's what it sounds like. I haven't seen it. I didn't. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're getting anyone from any group whatsoever, which isn't. That's not a plus, right? I think it's actions that are gonna show your character and who you're promoting all the time. You know, who you're listening to and willing to empathize with is gonna share a lot more of your character than just what you show on TV.
Look, I got one of these now. Fuck off.
Yeah, go away.
And
no,
that's just a shame to hear because, like, I don't know. I want
because Jake Atlas is so good,
Yeah,
and he deserved to be there anyways.
Yes, I want to be interested in this company. I want to be like inspired by their leadership to just be like, man, so proud I'm watching this. Other than other shit. But
even taking a step away from that, just to scope back a little bit. For it to taint Jake Atlas's debut and signing fucking sucks for Jake Atlas because he deserves to be there and he doesn't deserve. He's got so much talent. He's so good. And he doesn't deserve his debut and his signing to be tarnished by people side-eyeing it saying, what the fuck is this guy doing? He doesn't need to be pointed at as, is this guy here for the right reasons or not? Bottom line is he deserved to be there months ago. He's there now in this moment, and now it's tarnished because of all the bullshit. And that's what I mean. That's what it's important about a figurehead being smart about it, because what he did, what Tony did, shat on Jake Atlas's debut, whether he wanted it to or not, and whether it was intended to or not, or whether the timing was right or wrong. Jeremy in Time says, Tony must have a poison touch because Jake Atlas got injured afterwards. On the bright side, he potentially avoids already taking a loss on Rampage against Adam Cole. It's funny. But continue, Amanda. I didn't see the match. I was very excited for Jake Atlas to be back in wrestling. He talked like he was not going to be, and we've talked about him before. Big fans of him.
Yeah. And and one thing I do want to add, and this is something that actually happened in a discussion, is back in September of 19. I was on my way to Vegas to go see Ring of Honor. I was in LA at the time, and the Bucks were doing a signing with their book at Cracker Barrel. It's on the way, might as well stop. So I was there. Another friend of mine who is I call him we all call him. He's one of the adopted Massey kids because he's that big of a Young Bucks fan. Yeah. And we were sitting there talking. And he knows that we go to, they know that, we go to all these indie things, PWG, whatever, right? Throughout the years, because we've seen them in all these places. And they asked us, Nick and Matt were like, what is your honest opinion about Jake Atlas? And we were just like, oh my God, we're talking about his matches with Jungle Boy. And then I had said to the Bucks, I said, here's the thing. I said, I already know WWE's talked to him a couple of times already, and that's where he wants to go. And I know if people throw money at him, that's not what's gonna drive him. That was his dream. So it would be very difficult to try to get him, but he's just so damn talented that I don't think that WWE would really know what to do with him. Okay, I'm Nostradamus because look what happened. But I mean, I look back on it and I'm like, he's always been wanted over there. Yeah. Because when you get the Young Bucks and they're asking like fans who really kind of know what they're watching and stuff, their honest opinion on something. I felt honored, first of all, that they're asking me what my opinion was on something. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of cool. And then, but Jake is amazing, but it was true. He was not going to go anywhere but WWE. That was it. That was his dream. And I had a feeling in my heart and my soul that they were going to, he was going to be used for the wrong reasons and not all the right. And that kind of started to happen. And it sucks. It's okay, yeah, he were on Undercover Boss. There's a reason probably why, but we're not going to go there. But it just kind of sucks. And then now you have what happened, with his debut, but it's phenomenal. And I am waiting for Atlas versus Jungle Boy volume. I think it's either 6 or 7 now. That's going to be amazing. Yeah. And if you guys want to watch those, I believe if you go on YouTube, APW has posted some of the Jungle Boy and Jake Atlas matches. Is every one. I've been to probably almost all of them.
Yeah.
Every one, it was better and better and better. And yeah, the last one was just mind blowing. I mean, that's how great it was. It was at PWG, so sorry. But the
You've been
DVD is
talking
out,
about those
so-
matches for a long time. I feel like we should do a watch along. Check them out.
Yeah, we should. We
You
should
haven't
absolutely.
mentioned those for a long time. In the chat, Jeremy in Time does say, never mind, Jake. He said, never mind. Jake injured his knee during the match against Adam Cole, so he already took a loss. Come on, Jeremy. And Brian Rosa coming through the chat saying, Jake Atlas will bounce back and have a great future. 100%. And that's just it, is that, like, you could tell when he was in NXT that, like, he was special. There was something about him that was different. And when he was released by NXT, it was such a bummer because you felt like he didn't quite hit what you knew he could. And I guess I'm not, in a sense, when you talk about how it was his dream, I guess it's not a total shock that he might take some time to himself, regroup, reevaluate, figure out what he's doing.
He was going to quit. He was going to quit wrestling again. And this was not the first time. This is like the second time. Because I remember the first time I ever saw him wrestle was, I want to say like 2015, maybe. And we used to see him all the time because, you know, he's from LA and he would be at APW all the time. And I thought back then, that kid is special because he just had this charisma about him and he was smooth and very fluid. And then, you know, something had happened and he really just kind of fell out of wrestling and whatnot. And then when he went the NXT thing and all that happened, it was a real, he got put into a bad place because that was his dream. That's where he wanted to be. And it's really defeating when that happens, you know?
Believe me, I had the dream job that I wanted for a long time. And I knew the day that I wasn't fired, but I knew I was done. I had a discussion with one of the higher ups who was like, there's no future for you here. What can we do to help? And it was devastating. I was like, this was it. Like, it was this weird thing where it's like, what do you mean? What am I supposed to, like, this was my future. Like, getting here, I remember at the job interview, they had asked me something and I was all like, I'm sorry. I was like, I spaced out for a second. I was like, this is just the most I felt like home in a long time in my life. And I just know that I'm supposed to be here. And that's how I felt coming in. So when I left, it was like, fuck, that was it. Like, it was jarring. It was shaking. I can only imagine that he's in that same point where he walks in and said, this is it, but it's only the beginning. And then to have it cut short, you just go, hold on. It was only the beginning. How is it over? Like, it's a lot to deal with, So 100%. I'm really happy he's back doing it because he is so good at it. I think he will connect with the fans again. I think he will heal up that knee. And he's going to be out there kicking asses. I think nothing but the best for him. Grim Reaper coming through the chat saying, hi. That's how Grim Reaper talks, for anybody who doesn't know. We need to get him back on the show at some point. I'm sorry, we kind of like washed out Klump. Klump, did you see any AEW this week?
Yeah, I did. I watched AEW. It was decent. I liked it overall.
What'd you think of... Yeah, go ahead. You keep going.
I didn't find anything particularly bad in it. What I noted as positive is you didn't see really any of the elite there.
Well,
and I'm not saying this to be shitty, but like, if we're going to build up a roster and, you know, showcase them, I kind of need to not see them all the time.
Yeah, I think they're taking a break. And also,
it shows a strength in who's there now and not showing a super reliance on the elite, which is a net positive for sure.
Exactly.
When also Matt Jackson has COVID.
Well, why they're not there is one thing, but the idea that a show came on that was regarded as being very good and they were not a part of that show shows the strength of the talent you have. And maybe gave some of them, maybe because of the reasons they're out, maybe that gave some people the chance to really step up and show this is why I belong here and should get more time. Maybe they got to prove themselves that night.
Maybe, but to
I
be
don't know.
honest, it's the same people doing the
What do
same
I know?
shit.
I'm just an idiot who just drinks on TV or on YouTube. I'm not
You
even
drink on TV? Oh wow!
I just drink on YouTube.
I didn't know we were network already. Shit.
Well, if you project it on your wall, it's like we're on TV.
Yeah, you can put it on your TV if you log into YouTube.
Yeah.
So it works. Matter of fact, Kevlar, when he's on, sometimes his wife will put on the show in the living room on the TV, and his kids will sit there and be like, Dad's on TV. So, yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah, we're on TV.
Oh, but I will say this because I know you guys don't watch the internet wrestling.
Good point.
I have a big middle finger this week.
Good. That's great.
To Will Hobbs.
Okay.
To what?
Okay, dude, bro.
Okay.
Okay.
Matt Riddle.
You fucking manhandled goddamn Cole Cabana. Okay.
Oh, who did?
Will Hobbs. It was on Dark. Holy crap. Yeah, no. No. I have a bone pick with you, Will Hobbs. No.
So there was a moment where that match is about to start, and you couldn't have been more excited in your whole life. And then partway through the match, you're all like, "Stop!"
No. Everyone on my Twitter was like, you know your boy's gonna lose. They go, yeah, I know, but it can't be brutal. God, he tapped to the damn torture rack. Goddamn Cole Cabana. But I'm just saying this. Will Hobbs, you know better. You know better. Come on now. You know, you didn't have to be that brutal. Okay, I'm just saying. You didn't have to be that brutal. Okay, my heart can only take so much.
Sounds fair.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, you know, I'm just saying. But it actually was kind of nice that Colt did make him look like, you know, he was very, very powerful because Colt's not a small dude. So kudos to Colt, but to Will Hobbs. Middle finger for those who are listening on the podcast. Just imagine.
Yeah, Amanda just threw up a middle finger.
Oh, I believe it.
I did.
I believe it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And Hook. Okay. Why is he so over?
I don't know. I got nothing for you. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, no.
I feel like if I'm being honest, there's so much potential with him. He could be the future of the industry for sure. I think it's a lot for a young kid to handle. I think that seems to me it feels like there's an ironic thing about it that people are like, wouldn't it be funny if we all just cheered for Hook because he hasn't done anything? Is what it feels like. Yeah. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve cheers. I'm just nervous that. I mean, I guess maybe also my age. This is me just speaking out of my own age. Yeah, I grew up in the era of the Lindsay Lohans and the Olsen twins. Like, we grew up in an era of child stars having massive downfalls. And so for me, I'm all like, he's so young. Protect him.
Hey, Britney Spears bounced back.
She bounced back 30 years later.
It took forever, no producer lady. Come on.
They have documentaries about her needing to bounce back.
Sorry, we were at a record store recently. And
Hashtag free Britney.
Came across for her first album.
I thought about buying it.
And I was like,
I haven't.
I was like, man, she looks 16. And he was like, she was 16.
Yeah, it's like she was, yeah. It was actually, she looks like she's 16. It's because that's literally what her age is here.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's when she was fucking Justin Timberlake. And you weren't supposed to know that.
All right.
Okay, easy.
All right, anyway, sorry.
But, so for me, I'm like protective of Hook. I'm all like, look, it's all good to show him love, but someone needs to put bumpers around him and protect him from the downfall of too much fame too fast. We can't Corey Hart this kid.
Oh my God. He is not a damn kid bowling in a bowling alley and you have those stupid bumpers in the, in the gutters.
No, that's what Marsh is saying. He is.
No.
He is. That's what I need to do. Protect him.
No.
Yeah.
Because you still can get a gutter ball with those things. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
Think about
that much I know.
Oh my God. Only us.
You can always get a
bowlers.
butterball if you try.
Only us nerdy bowlers would know that.
Yeah. You're like, yep, in that back corner.
Yeah, the rest of our audience has no idea what we're talking about.
They're like, what are they talking about?
Audience in quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All five of you. Thank you.
You know what
Appreciate
it means?
all of our drinking buddies.
It means that, producer lady, you, me, and Marsh need to do if AEW comes around and does the bowling thing near us, that means that we need to do that, and we will be probably the nerdiest people.
100%.
Oh,
if
no,
if
we'll have to
AEW did a bowling thing anywhere near me, I would absolutely do it.
Yeah.
We have to,
bring
and then
our-
get shirts.
we have our own equipment. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I
We've
know
got our
you
own
guys probably
shoes.
do. I used to, but I would get my own just because.
Yeah, we have our custom
They weren't
stuff
very
already.
expensive. Yeah.
I would make some Wrestling on the Rocks bowling shirts for us if that
I'd
came
want
around.
one. Oh, fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
All right.
Maybe
so,
I'll just do it. I should have done that for Christmas. We should have all gotten a Wrestling on the Rocks bowling shirt.
All right. So what else do we like about AEW this week?
Bowling.
You know.
Okay, so I want to know what you guys thought about Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson. I'm going to say this. As cool as all of it was, I do have a critique on it.
Mm-hmm.
The commentary could not have sounded less interested in what they were watching, and that was frustrating. Because I was watching while I was drawing. I was drawing something up, and so I was kind of like watching, but not. Like, if I'm being honest, I wasn't glued to it. And listening to the commentary, I was like, are they watching the match? Like, they kept talking about other things that were going to happen in the show. They kept talking about just random stuff. Oh, it's so good. Tony Schiavone 4 times in that match said, it's just great to be back on TBS. Okay. How great is it that you have a title match happening?
That's kind of sad.
It bummed me out that they didn't sound excited for it. And especially for a match that those guys were killing themselves for. Like, they were going all out on it.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, I couldn't, because I was so fixated on the commentary, I couldn't help but notice Excalibur constantly trying to feed the story of a thing that never happened. He's all like, let's not forget Daniel Bryan was 5 seconds away from losing. Hangman Page had Daniel Bryan. If he had 5 more seconds, he could have got the pin. At the end of their last match, Daniel Bryan rolled out of the ring. He needed a lot more than 5 seconds to get that match clinched up. So it's just one of those things where I was all like, I remember thinking at the end, oh, they wrapped up the end in such a way you can't bring it up again. You can't really say, oh, he almost had him, because of the way that Daniel Bryan rolled out, he was nowhere near it. You're at a stalemate. And then the whole match, Excalibur's all like, he almost had him. I was like, well. But apart from that, the match was fucking great. And the guys are brutal. I do think that it's a little funny that Hangman Page gets blood during commercial breaks consistently now. Like, I think they're nervous he's not doing it right or something. Like, because it's like, we'll go to commercial, he'll come back, he'll be bloody. We'll figure it out. We'll just hack away at him if we have to. Mm-hmm. But it was dope. Otherwise, so, I mean, my critique on that was the commentary just sounded all like, so, what do you think about Jericho being back? That's kind of neat, right? Haven't heard from him in a while.
No.
Oh, yeah. Sounds all right. Like, that's what it
They're
sounded
on
like on
booze.
commentary.
Boozies.
And
I
he
said,
had
no more that Judas shit.
But
Gotta
I'm
get rid
just
of
saying, I'm saying that's what the commentary sounded like, is they were just talking about other things, and at no point did they sound excited like, oh my God, we're going to have a new champion.
So
Or,
the
oh
ma-
my God.
The match was background.
Yeah, the match seemed like, yeah, they weren't paying attention.
Well, JR, come on. He just had, like, what was it? Skin cancer treatment?
Oh, yeah. JR being back was dope, by the way.
You
But I'm saying that,
probably,
like
drugged.
collectively, there needed more energy there.
I'm just happy he's back, so I won't see more of those photos that he kept posting on social
Yeah, his
media.
disgusting feet photos. Come on, JR.
I was like, dude, I don't need to see like the process. I'm just happy that you're getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be
no,
scrolling
like-
through. Go!
Yes.
My scroll through. the
Hashtag get well
timeline.
soon. Gah. I don't want to see it. Jeremy Ty says, Brian dishing out and receiving that many unprotected headbutts. A guy who had to retire because of brain injury shouldn't be taking that much blunt force trauma to the head.
No.
Well, I'll say this. We're dumb drunks on YouTube. I don't want to pretend that I know what's happening in the ring all the time. There's sometimes you can see stuff, and we'll talk about it. You see certain injuries, and you go, that was bad. That was way bad. There's other times where you see stuff and go, that doesn't look right, or that doesn't feel right. But the people in the ring are doing a thing where it's like, I bet that looked really bad, and it really wasn't. So it's hard to say. There's every possibility that Daniel Bryan's whole point of doing it the way he was to look more brutal than it was, to feel more unprotected than it was. It's a little hard to say because the production of their camera angles has always been a bit dicey. But I will say, yes, I don't want to see Daniel Bryan hurt. But I will say, no, I don't think that I feel in a comfortable position to tell Daniel Bryan if he's doing a thing right or not. I feel like that I have to give that one up to Daniel Bryan. It's one thing when we see somebody who's been on the indies for 2 years and now is on TV and you go, okay, they're not doing any of this right. But Daniel Bryan, I have a real hard time saying he's doing something wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's that. Klump, what do you think about the match? Paige, I call him Daniel Bryanson.
So, I watched AEW last night, and I watched it actually twice because I was like, why did I not see it? I didn't see the Daniel Bryan match.
That's the
Like,
opener.
It opened the show.
Oh, god damn it. So I know I missed something.
That's funny. I will say this, if I could...
Well, that's fucking stupid.
If I could be the slightest bit critical of that too, this is the second time a title match has opened the show with Paige as the champion, and I believe it's his second defense. You got to start having that title close the show again, because for having every single champion before him close the show when they were on it, having him not makes him feel different in a bad way. Make sure he gets important. My biggest problem with Hangman Page as champion is they haven't booked him to feel important. This is one more step in that just not important enough things. And he just got a win over Daniel Bryan. That should have been the talk. That should have been it. Nothing else mattered. Hangman Page beat Daniel Bryan. Holy shit. Headlines everywhere. Get those tweets out there. Hashtag new AirPods. Do the whole thing. Your champion beat arguably the greatest wrestler in the history of time. I don't think it should open the show. But what do I know? The TBS Championship. I want to know what you guys thought about that, because this is one that I feel that got sullied as well a little bit with all the Tony Khan IWC rigmarole, as we call it in my age. The title looks like it says Hose instead of TBS because of font. AEW needs to realize that font matters.
Yes.
The TBS font on that title is terrible. And the Winner is Coming font needs to change as well. It said Wangman Page. That title, the TBS title, absolutely says Hose. It is upsetting.
They're doing that on purpose. They can't not do that on purpose.
They don't know. I'm telling you, somebody there is just looking at things face value immediately and improving. Someone's got to say, if you glance at it for a couple more seconds, does it sort of look like this too? You know what I mean? Everyone just goes, how's that? Great. I think a little detail in the font could go a long way. But what do I know? However, Ruby Soho and Jade Cargill, Jade Cargill's the TBS Championship. We talked about it from the beginning. We felt like this title needed to be on a Thunder Rosa or a Ruby Soho. I even said early on, my fear is they're going to put it on Jade Cargill. And not to discredit her. She's an incredible presence. I think she is so much of sports entertainment, if I'm being honest. But you're setting the stage for what this title is going to be, how important it's going to be. We already know someone like a Thunder Rosa can carry the NJPW title in an organization that doesn't even belong to it and make it look important. I felt like someone like that could bring a legitimacy and a relevancy to that title right away. With Jade Cargill, I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle to get it to that side. At the same time, Thunder lost to Jade on the way through, so you kind of want Jade to win just so it doesn't, at least Jade lost to the champion, right? Or Thunder lost to the champion. But yeah, I really was hoping for like a Ruby or a Thunder in this one. What do you guys think about Jade Cargill getting the win here? I'll start with Amanda.
I kind of had a feeling after she beat Thunder Rosa, I knew she's going to get the belt. Because now it's like, okay, well, who beats her? Because she's undefeated. So makes it a little interesting. But yeah, it should have been someone else. Now, I will say this. When Mercedes Martinez came out, I'm a little bit more excited for her and Thunder Rosa. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's a dream
That
match.
was more exciting. So.
We called that early on. We wanted to see that in Mission Pro if we couldn't see it anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad we're getting it.
Yeah, we're going to get it. Klump, what'd you think?
I mean, it wasn't a bad match. I still think that, to me, Thunder Rosa would have been a better champion. But because to me, it's, if Thunder got it, then Thunder doesn't need work to establish themselves, but then you have belt versus belt, and then they can go for it,
Yeah.
But I would have preferred Thunder myself, though Jade isn't bad. And yes, I agree with you 100% that the font for TBS, you couldn't have done that. It's the most WWE-like title I've ever seen, because it's just a logo on it, and it's the shittiest font.
Yeah, that font needs to change. But yeah, I feel like that Jade Cargill's going to have an uphill climb on this one. It's going to be a tough road for her, and I just think that she is such a presence and has so much potential that you just don't want to see someone have to struggle, and I feel like that we're going to see some growing pains here. But I don't know. What do I know? In the chat, Jeremy says, all I have to say is that Jade Cargill to me is all look and no substance. There's definitely room for improvement, but who needs a performance center? Am I right? I mean, they have people there teaching and coaching. Let's not forget that Serena Deeb, while she's been off TV, has been coaching the women in the back. I believe Thunder Rosa has mentioned that she's been instrumental in training people in the back. Dustin Rhodes clearly has done a lot through his, RWA. They have the Nightmare Factory. There are tools there. I think also sometimes some people are slow learners in certain aspects, and wrestling is a difficult thing. She comes from a basketball background, so she's clearly an athlete. I mean, you have to look at her for 2 seconds and know that she's an athlete. It's just a difficult, complicated thing, and so that's what I mean is I think I would have liked to see her be like a second or third champ, like have her build up towards needing it or taking someone down and proving herself while you're still proving yourself to the fan base and having a title. I mean, look what they did with Jinder. I mean, if you want to kind of go apples to oranges on that one, Jinder, when he became world champion, a lot of people were frustrated, saying that he felt like someone who still needed a lot of work. He felt like someone who was doing like on-the-job training, and we're watching it. It was frustrating for a lot of fans. I mean, mind you, I love Jinder, but I can understand the criticism. But nonetheless, congrats to Jade Cargill, first TBS champion. That was another one, though, that was a little bit people side-eyeing that one as well, because they're all like, oh, interesting. I guess the other big thing, though, was the Lucha Brothers versus Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express takes the titles, and Ray Phoenix had a hell of an injury. Yeah. Luckily, announcement came out, nothing broken. No broken bones. It literally, his arm just in the middle where the elbow is, just folded back the opposite way, which is absolutely terrifying.
Hyperextended.
Yeah. Hyperextended. I mean, you can say hyperextended, dude, but there's like, that's beyond hyperextended.
Well,
like,
hyperextension can be really bad.
Yeah, it was severe, dramatic, fucking terrifying, dude. When I saw it too, I was all like, holy shit. And here's the other thing I will say. From a details perspective, somebody in production needs to be more aware of what they're looking at, because they replayed that several times and posted it to their social media before all the fans said, oh my God, what happened to him? And they went, what? And then they pulled it down. They need to be a little bit more aware, because it didn't have to happen. And I will say it was a perfect example of their utter misuse of referees and the belief that referees seem to have in that company that they're part of a show and serve no function. Because reading Jimmy Corderas' book and just talking to the referees, there's a split in mentalities where a lot of refs feel like safety is their number one concern. Jared Fritz from NWA, safety is the number one concern for a referee. They're in there, yes, to facilitate a story, but also to be the eyes on the talent, because you have to remember, these athletes in there are fighters. They may be, in your mind, play fighting, or in your mind, fake fighting, whatever you want to call it, but in their mind, they're real warriors. And they get injured, and you want to talk about the show must go on, it's almost impossible to get these guys to stop. Like, Daniel Bryan still talks about how much he hated Triple H for stopping his match when he was out cold in the middle of it. Like, your function as a referee is to make sure that these guys are protected from themselves and from those injuries. And I do feel like this is one where the referee was fucking around. There was a massive bump on the outside of the ring. I'm sure he couldn't see it from his vantage point, but he didn't check. He didn't say, "Oh, someone just had a huge slam to the ground. I should go slide out there and take a look." If you look in WWE, 100% of bumps that happen outside the ring, the referee slides out, checks on them, goes back in. The ref just didn't check on him at all. So the guy was sitting in there screaming for medical, pointing to his arm, trying to wave medical. It shouldn't have gotten that far. The referee should have been there, said, "Fuck that arm," and gotten someone to him, slid back in the ring and continue because, yes, the show must go on. But this is just one of those instances and examples I can point to say that's how refs aren't being used right. Go ahead, Klump.
I felt so. What frustrated me about this, I was happy that Jungle Boy or the Jurassic Express won it.
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Though, fuck, does Luchasaurus seem like a step off? Everyone seemed to step off at various points. And what frustrated me is there was a lot of points in this where there was a lot of like waiting and watching people to get in the right spot. And it was honestly more egregious than a lot of Young Buck matches to me. Like there was a sequence toward the end where they're on their apron and stuff, and there's a lot of like, well, I'm going to kick him, but I'm waiting for you to get over here so I can do it then, and you jump into me.
Yeah.
Further, sorry, there's a pretty bad botch or a couple of pretty bad botches where like they'd say, "Oh, he got pulled back in." No, he just slipped on the ropes. And it happened multiple times. It was just like weird.
Yeah, one of my concerns too was that, look, we don't know. We're not in the ring. And Ray Phoenix made a statement saying it was nobody's fault, any of this, and I get that. And it does look like as he's falling, he puts his arm behind him. Part of me wondered if that wasn't a subconscious thing you do if you don't fully trust what's happening. And that could be a problem. But again, that's digging a little deep. That's maybe outside of our realm, and I don't want us to step out of turn here. But yeah, when I saw someone who's trained to take falls put his arm behind him before he even hit the ground, I went, "Ooh, why is his arm behind him?" Like, I've taken some prat falls myself and hurt myself a number of times, and it's like, oh, if my arm gets behind me, it's only bad from here. So it was a little nerve-wracking. And then I thought about the psychology of it, and it's like, oh, was he unsure of what was happening, you know? So, but at the end of the day, nothing shattered, nothing broken. That is a good thing and a highlight, and we hope for the best. And I'm sure he'll be back kicking ass too. Jeremy in time, and then I'm going to go to Amanda. It says, not to mention the fact that it took so long for any medical staff to get to the ring. You can see Phoenix calling for anyone to help, but it took way too long. Also, I agree the ref should have been the one to throw up the X, not have Phoenix begging for help in pain on the ground. Yeah, that's what was bothering me. Is the camera cut back to him like twice while he's going like, "Ah, my arm, fuck!" And I was all like, "Someone help him!" Like, I mean, the doc's got to have an earpiece. If you're production, you saw that immediately. Why aren't you not on? Hey, doc, go check on him if the ref's not gonna. But I don't know, man. This is a lot out of our pay grade, and I'm just saying from a referee standpoint, as somebody who's refereed on the indies and still dreams of refereeing more, I can't imagine a bump happening like that and you don't check on him. Look at Sam Stackhouse. That motherfucker flips onto a dude on the outside. That referee will check on both of them. Stackhouse first because he's the star. Secondly, the guy he crushed. You gotta check on these guys. And yeah, it was... Seeing him screaming and begging and waving for medical sucked. Fucking sucked. But at the very least, it's not shattered. Amanda, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a little scary. My big comment, and I hate to be Debbie Downer. Why the fuck did they put a title on Luchasaurus? He's not very good. We all know who carried that match.
Yeah.
And I must say, I was really touched when I saw his mom and his sister. I shed a tear. I'm not gonna lie. And then he looked up. I know he's talking to Dad. I shed a tear.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw that. That was cool.
And you know, And I'll tell you, because like his family, like throughout the years, I've seen them, like this is his sister, and then his mom had a lot of APW before, couldn't see his dad because never could find him. But it was really awesome to see. But it also, to me, was like, man, there's so many better wrestlers. Why? I'd rather, it would have been better maybe Christian, you donned a little mask and you could have been baby Luchasaurus or whatever. Or I don't know. That probably would have been a little better. But to see all of that happen and then having, Ray and Drew and stuff, that was just, but I'm very happy for Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus,
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He's finally got some gold in the thing, but I do agree that objectively speaking, Jungle Boy is the superior wrestler in that team, and it comes across, and so it's a little tough to buy into the whole tag team, but it's a fun pairing. Grim Reaper in the chat says, "Do you think they called the title change on the fly in the ring because of the arm injury?" The only reason I don't is because his family was front row.
Yeah.
And they cut to the family immediately. And on top of that, every tag team in the locker room was standing by waiting to come out and get on the ramp and stare at them. It was like, I felt like the ending was super overproduced, but it was fine because it made for a cool moment and everyone got their photos and all that. But for me, I was all like, well, this is a bit much. But yeah, I think the title change was going to happen regardless, and I think that I don't even think they rushed the finish, because a lot of people were saying that happened and the finish came pretty quick. But I think that was the timing of it. Is I think the Luchasaurus was meant to take out Rey Fenix, and then Jungle Boy was meant to get the pin on Pentagon. Pentagon? That's probably not his name.
We know who you're talking about. He's had like 20 name changes, so.
Oh, it's same deal. I still love him
though,
in
every
Lucha Underground.
match.
Dude, I hated him in Lucha Underground.
Really?
I fucking hated him. I was like, this motherfucker is breaking everyone's arms. I was so worked.
I loved him in Lucha. Yeah, I know, for that reason. No, I fucking hate him now because it's the same shit every match. The same point, and I'm done with it. It's so tiring.
But it's without the arm breaking. I want him to bring back the arm break thing. Because that move, I was so mad at him all the time. And then when he did it to, was it Sexy Star or whatever? I was all like, he even broke a girl's arm! The fuck is wrong with him?
She's a bitch and deserved it.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that.
To be fair, a lot of people want to do that now.
Yeah, a lot of people want to do that.
But at the time,
they probably were cheering in the streets of Mexico.
And that was my biggest thing to Amanda's point. Like, they put a belt on Luchasaurus. Hey, they took it off a fucking Pentagon. He needs to go away for a bit and relearn his gimmick. I'm tired of it. Week in, week out, same shit. Fuck off. It's the worst.
I'm not super into his presentation right now, but his presentation in Lucha Underground still kind of like,
it's like going to
like
a fucking Rolling Stones concert and watching them do the greatest hits. Okay. Or a touring comedian who does the same bit every year.
Yeah.
Well, in defense, the Rolling Stones do very well, and Jerry Seinfeld on his final tour of I'm Telling You for the Last Time, where he did all of his most famous jokes, was also very successful.
That was fun.
It was great.
We saw him live.
I saw that I had that CD for so long and listened to it so many times. Tell you what I like about... No, never mind.
Okay.
As long as I'm on the subject. I didn't watch much else of AEW, I'm going to be honest with you. So you guys tell me, was there anything else on AEW you guys wanted to talk about that you liked? We could wrap up a little bit on a few NXT things.
I just will say that now that y'all spoiled Rampage for me tomorrow. Thank you. I didn't know Jake lost and was injured.
Oh.
Played it off. So y'all, there's my Friday night plans. Well, anyways.
Jeremy and Time playing the heel.
Y'all, come on. But do we really need to see Cody versus Guevara again for the belt?
I'm going to be honest. At this point with Cody, I don't even register it. He does this thing and I go, okay, Cody's in a segment, and I skip it if I'm being honest.
No.
It's just I don't know. So short answer, no, I don't need to see it again. However, no, I didn't see it the first time. So,
Or the first two times.
Sure, if they've had more than one match.
This is the third one. For the
I
belt.
believe you.
You know?
I'm just saying, yeah. So yeah, no, I don't. I'm curious what they're doing with Cody. If I'm being honest.
I don't know.
Anything else on AEW, you guys?
No.
Klump, did you watch NXT?
Not a lot of it. I heard about the title change, and I heard about Braun Breaker's entrance.
Yeah, so those were a couple of big things. I'm scrolling through. It was overall pretty cool NXT, if I'm being honest. AJ Styles and Grayson Waller doing their thing, and it's dope.
Yeah, I like AJ coming through NXT. Some people were saying it sounded like it sounded like he was just passing the torch, and this was going to be it. Who knows?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm liking AJ in NXT right now more than I'm liking him on Raw right now. Like
Super face, yeah.
he's coming off like more gritty on NXT, and it's pretty fucking cool. So I'm into it. The triple threat with the women. I really like Mandy Rose as the champion, so I'm okay with how it went.
Mm-hmm.
Cora Jade had a couple spots they didn't need to give her, is I think what I'll say.
I mean, she's just pretty new, so I kind
still
of
green.
take it with a grain of salt. I still really like her. Still a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites on the show right now. But they had a spot where Raquel was running towards her, and she was supposed to like pull on the ropes and jump down to pull the rope down so Raquel goes over, and she just couldn't budge the rope. She pulls her weight down, but she doesn't weigh enough to bring the rope down, so Raquel like fucking pogo sticks herself over the top rope, and it just you could have done without that spot. You just didn't need it.
Yeah, I feel like she'll work through it.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult with some women who are smaller, I think.
Yes.
And I feel like there's going to be some cool way that they work around it, that she works around it, I should say.
Yeah, I just think it was little things like that because there's a number of people I saw who were really like down on the match in general. I think there was a few spots in there that they could have done without that would have greatly improved the match. There were some things that were hard to get into because you're kind of like, what? You just did it to yourself. Outside of that, Carmelo and Roderick Strong was pretty sick, although there was a really weird move in there too where Roddy seemed to like flip and beat the shit out of Carmelo and then laid there and was all like, pin me. And Carmelo like puts his arm over. It was weird. Walter and Riddle was pretty sick. But the big stuff, unless there's anything you want to say about any of those, guys?
No.
No? Braun Breaker.
Well, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll be honest. I'm waiting. Part of me is waiting for Roderick Strong to go to AEW, but I really don't want him to go to AEW. I would want him to stay in NXT or go somewhere else because I feel like it's just telegraphed and yeah.
Producer lady here. I would really love to see some of these great talents go to MLW. Like, I just feel like everyone shouldn't just be looking at AEW. I mean, obviously, I know there's probably more money there, but I think if we're talking about like progressing the indies, right, and just getting it more exciting, I really want to see people go to places other than AEW.
Fair. I will say the rumor is Roderick Strong re-signed with them recently, so I don't know.
It's general.
In general, I'd like to see an influx of talent in MLW, if I'm being honest. But yeah, there's that. Braun Breaker, he comes out, he kicks the proverbial X right through its heart, smashes it in half, the old thumb and gummit. People were very much all like, Cody broke the throne, but Braun Breaker broke the X. And you're like, okay.
Both of which are fuck yous to Triple H. Good job.
They felt that way, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, that's cool. And I was kind of like, wait a second. That's going to get people upset, I think.
Yeah.
I did like if you noticed, the gear. Braun Breaker was in. What does that mean? So Braun Breaker is wearing his dad's boots. He was also wearing primarily all black, which he's been coming out in very colorful stuff. Ciampa comes out in white with crazy paint splatter on the sides of it and stuff, and it looked like they did almost homages to each other. Like the Braun was in black and gold and Ciampa was in NXT 2.0 style gear. Almost as, I mean, to me, as I was watching, it felt a little bit like Swan Song-ish, you know what I mean? Where I was like, oh, they're really kind of like giving each other their respects and stuff. Like, it was pretty cool. Grim Reaper says, oh wait, no, never mind. Chat's all the match itself was pretty sick. It was dope. We got Braun Breaker, a new champion. I love it. You got Roderick Strong is no longer the Cruiserweight champion, both of them unified by Carmelo. I do wonder moving forward if we're going to see a huge shift in nothing black and gold at all. And like you said, what does that mean for LA Knight and Cameron Grimes? Anything you guys want to say about the match or the turnout? Because I love it. I'm excited about it. Braun Breaker should be the champion. He should be in WrestleMania right now. I'll start with Amanda.
It was good stuff. I really enjoyed watching that. Yeah, it did feel like, okay, where's Tommaso going? Is this it for him? I mean, those are the questions that came up in my head. Cameron Grimes, I'm gonna go back to that promo. That was money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was so funny.
That was, I missed that kind of shit. That kind of Cameron Grimes shit. But I love it too. What did he say? 2020 to the moon.
Oh yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
Good. Yeah.
That needs to be on a shirt. I'm just saying.
It probably will be, yeah.
I hope so. They should have already done it. But yeah, it was good stuff.
Klump, what do you think?
I will say this.
Oh,
watching the Braun Breaker match and Riddle and MSK and Walter and Imperium, that was good. This is probably one of the better of the 2.0s that I've seen. Yeah. Because it actually held my interest for an hour and not like 10 minutes. So,
and Pete Dunne cutting that promo on Tony D'Angelo to do a crowbar on a pole match. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. What? Prove me wrong. Klump, what'd you think of Braun Breaker?
I mean, it's kind of expected at this point for him to be winning because he's just got it. Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. It didn't feel super special to me, but I don't know if it has to be because also one thing I've long complained about is not having title changes on regular TV.
Yes. Yeah. I felt also. Oh wait, I forgot now. I lost it. That's what happens when you hang out with your drinking buddies. Comes and it goes. I think, like you said, yeah, Braun Breaker at this point, he's just got it. He's doing it. It was one of those NXTs where I'm just watching it and I go, this is pretty damn good, top to bottom. Like, this is a solid one. I'm excited to see Braun as a champion. Man, I'm trying to think if there was another video package or something that crossed my mind and then dropped out. Walter? We talked about Walter a little bit. He was a badass dude, chomping the shit out of Riddle, who sold for him so much. So good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking through a thing real quick because I know that there was something that was in my mind I was going to bring up as soon as you finish that sentence, and it's fucking... The Bo vignette was... Oh! Joe Gacy and Harland had a promo that was like immediately as they're even being introduced into it. I was like, holy shit, this is terrifying. Harland just staring dead-eyed at the camera and Joe Gacy just smiling, looking at the interviewer. I was all like, fuck, they figured this one out, and they're joining they're being a tag team for the Dusty Classic, and that to me is very intriguing because as much as they've been a unit together, I haven't really imagined them as a functional tag team because they felt like such identifiably different characters who were working together but separate. You know what I mean? Like Joe Gacy was prompting Harlan to go do this. Harlan was just standing around while Joe Gacy was doing his thing to like keep an eye out. They didn't ever feel like a tag team. So the idea that they're joining the Dusty Classic has me mega intrigued about the Dusty Classic all of a sudden. Go ahead, Amanda.
You know, I don't think I saw that.
Oh, well, I guess.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of when was it, or maybe I didn't because I had it on at work today.
Oh,
So-
I think it wasn't a very long promo. It was between a couple matches.
Ooh, I might have missed it then.
Oh. All right. Well, Klump, did you see it?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Well, all right. Well, that's that. So, well, I loved it. Anything else you guys want? Anything else you guys wanted to cover at all before we move it along?
I'm good right now.
Yeah.
Producer, what are you doing?
If we are done with NXT UK or NXT, I was going to mention NXT UK. Iko Satomura was pretty dope.
Had a match against Blair Davenport.
Yes. I mean, I'm always just a fan of Satomura's, and it was cool to see Davenport, like, you know, in a main event.
Yeah.
I just love that it's a short show, so it really is captivating to me anyway, as a like casual viewer. It's one that I can invest in because it just feels like it goes by so quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that the women were the main event. Like, I never know who's going to be the main event. I don't really follow. I don't have time to follow all the social media always. So I kind of just go with it. And I mean, I dig it. And I'm really just on pins and needles hoping that NXT UK doesn't go away.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. With all these releases, it feels a little unsure. You don't know what's going to happen, and the vision of NXT seems to be split from its current vision. Like, they had NXT India, NXT Saudi Arabia, they had NXT UK, and now at this point with NXT becoming NXT 2.0, really makes you wonder what's the future look like internationally. With that said, though, Maiko Satomura is fucking badass. Great match with Blair Davenport. Really excited to see what she does. I almost wonder if you see more crossover between UK and America as things move on. But with COVID being what it is, I don't know if you can even plan for stuff like that.
Yeah,
No,
I
you
mean,
really-
I was... Sorry?
What was that?
I was going to say, no, you really can't because you might. It's very easy for them to just close down travel again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I mean they got an audience back, a live audience back, which was awesome. Last week they didn't have a live audience; they had like a Thunderdome style, so it's cool to see what they're doing. Also interesting to note that Walter, there was a promo announced where he said it's his next week is going to be his last NXT UK match. So
That's true. Walter is having one final match in NXT UK, and he said for the foreseeable future, it's his final match in NXT UK. We don't know what that means next. I know that we are 23 days away from Royal Rumble, so it would feel a little bit weird to hold off until then, but maybe not. Maybe you have that match there, and you just have him disappear for 2 weeks and then show up at Rumble. I don't know. But Walter's one of those guys. You told me about him, Klump, before he even signed with NXT UK, that he was a dude I needed to watch and needed to just be aware of. And when he signed with NXT, I got the chance to see him. I saw him at the Rumble 2019. And I was like, oh, this is the guy that Klump's been talking about. And I went and watched him and was like, holy shit. Like, this is a dude, no matter what's next, you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
TW Takes Podcast in the chat. Mr. Bishop says, hey guys, just finished up night 2 of the Boozies. That was our year-end awards. He says, I wanted to say great episode, but most importantly, fuck you too to Splinter Fox. Mwah. It's a good point. It's a good point about Splinter Fox. What?
he's our favorite heel. I mean,
He is our resident troll. If it weren't for him, no one would be keeping look over our bridge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do we have fans?
I don't know. Because they like to have a drink with us because we're everyone's drinking buddies right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, are you ready for last call?
Yeah. Real quick, I want to announce there is going to be a Mission Pro show at the end of the month, the Crazy Train. So if you are in Conroe, Texas area, you should probably check it out because it's Thunder Rosa's all-women's promotion. It's going to have Holodead, Thunder Rosa, Mandy. You got there's just such a slew of people.
Genocide, that's a good one.
Maddie Rankowski's on there.
Maddie Rankowski.
Right.
Sierra, you've got
I love
a
Maddie.
whole lot of awesome women. So if you're in the area, you should probably check out Mission Pro Res. They also do stream it. Check out Mission Pro Res, wrestling.net. I know they stream it on Title Match, so check that out. It's usually pretty affordable, so you shouldn't have an issue there. But yeah, wanted to give that a shout out before we go.
Absolutely. And I think their contact information is there too. So if you want to sponsor any of their shows, our friends over at Nation's Corner sponsors them regularly. We sponsored their first show and then came across financial difficulties as I promptly quit my job and said, fuck it, I'll podcast forever. So
yeah, I'm waiting for that promotion, and so that we can be sponsoring everything.
Yeah, once we get promoted, we shall promote. But
we're not sponsoring, but want to sponsor.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Sponsored, not sponsored. Yeah, their contact information is on the bottom of the webpage, missionprowrestling.net, if you want to be a part of that sponsor and be part of history, realistically. But yeah, I was going to have a trip out to Texas in May, and I got flipped around, and now my friend who's in Texas is like, fuck it, I'm coming to Arizona. And I was going to be all like, well, is there a Mission Pro event in May? Because I'll make sure that I'm out for the right weekend. But it'll happen. It'll happen.
And also, the latest PWI magazine has our local dude in it.
Hammerstone, yeah. The PWI magazine with Big E on the cover. I picked it up the other day. There's a big, 4 or 5-page article on Hammerstone winning the title against Fatu.
Nice.
Fucking great. Yeah. Super cool. So just support the guys you love, the gals you love, and support the wrestling you love. And if you don't like it, I don't know, shut up about it. As CM Punk says, don't watch it. I don't know.
Don't give people shit about stuff that they like and you don't like.
Yeah, criticism is fair, but some of the way some people behave, good Lord. So, yeah. Yeah, to take a quote from NXT UK, good Lord, Eddie Dennis. That's my two favorite commentary. But guys, I think we're good for the night. If you guys are ready for last call, let's go ahead and do it. Guys, we are going to be back next week for a brand new episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR the show. With me, as per usual, on our Thursday night chaser, we got MsAmandaJayne. We got Crybaby Klump. All right. That's an audio platform. But either way,
I guess.
we'll be back to have a drink with all of you, our drinking buddies, right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, that's last call.
Is everybody?
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.